The American Dream, Dead or Alive? By Monique Balzer. Susie Orman as well as John Stiglitz have claimed the American Dream is dead. But first things first, what is the American Dream? The American Dream is the promise of happiness, prosperity, and upward social mobility through hard work and initiative. This topic has been a theme in literature for decades and has given plenty of evidence to answer the age-old question. It goes without saying that in order for something to be dead, it has to have once been alive. Therefore, the American Dream is not dead because it never existed in the first place, because of the impossibility of upward social and economic mobility. Willy Loman in Death of a Salesman is the perfect example of the American Dream's false existence. He is a working-class man who spends his entire life as a salesman to achieve happiness and has nothing to show for it in his old age. For Willy, hard work and initiative got him nowhere, which ultimately goes against the fundamental nature of the American Dream. He exclaims his frustrations with the dream in the quote, "There are promises made across this desk. You mustn't tell me you've got people to see. I put 34 years into this firm, Howard, and now I can't pay my insurance." Troy Maxson is another example of the non-existence of the American Dream. Once a champion baseball player in the Negro Leagues, he now works as a garbage man whose only attainable improvement in life is becoming the driver of the truck. In Troy's case, racism was the reason for the American Dream being a myth. Unless you're Jackie Robinson, the chances of improving one's economic and social status are nearly impossible due to segregation and racism. This goes completely against the American Dream's principles of freedom of opportunity. Troy and his wife Rose illustrate this when talking about his failed career in the following quote. "What do you mean, too old? Don't come telling me I was too old. I just wasn't the right color." Bigger Thomas from Native Son is an extreme example of the American Dream being stifled because he is a poor black kid living in the southern ghettos of Chicago who resorts to crime and murder because of his destitute environment. Because Bigger is black, he is automatically exempt from the American Dream, since finding a good job and financial stability is nearly impossible due to Jim Crow laws and oppression. Just like Troy Maxson, Bigger is denied the freedom to prosper, thanks to racism that was so prevalent in America during the time. He describes his tragic status and unattainable happiness in the following quote, "Yes, he could take the job at the Daltons and be miserable, or he could refuse it and starve." In the book Savage Inequalities, a school in the ghettos of East St. Louis is described to be constantly flooding and lacking the materials necessary for proper education. This school is another example of the American Dream not existing because the students attending the school feel hopeless when it comes to their future. They know their social status as minorities gives them little chance in making it in corporate America, especially with just a high school diploma. Because of their social status and lack of proper education, they are denied the rights associated with what the American Dream should be. I have 4 girls right now in my senior homeroom who are pregnant or have just had babies. When I ask them why this happens, I am told, well, there's no reason not to have a baby. There's not much for me in public school. In Nickel and Dimed, Barbara Ehrenreich describes the chronicles of working lower-class minimum-wage jobs in order to see if someone can survive off of such a low wage. She proves the lower class have absolutely no chance of raising their economic status when there are low wages, painstaking working hours, and crushing taxes and debt. These factors all contribute to the absence of the American Dream, since they once again hindered upward social and economic mobility. She emphasizes this evidence of the falsehood of the American Dream in the following quote, "No one ever said that you could work hard, harder even than you ever thought possible, and still find yourself sinking ever deeper into poverty and debt." Finally, the upcoming millennial generation is a perfect example of the American Dream's non-existence. In a New York Times article entitled "American Dream is Elusive for the New Generation," the plight of young graduate Nicholson is described when his struggling search for a career is met with the crushing denial to prosper. His Odyssey-like search for a job proves that the American Dream is unattainable even in modern times since he worked hard his whole life, won countless awards for his academics, and was rewarded with financial instability. The hope and promise associated with the dream is lost when his search is described. Mr. Nicholson, 24, a graduate of the Colgate University, winner of a Dean's Award for Academic Excellence, spent his morning searching corporate websites for suitable job openings. When he found one, he mailed off a resume and a cover letter 4 or 5 a week, week after week. As you can see, it is invalid to say the American Dream is dead, since it never existed in the first place. The wrongful promise of economic upward mobility is the reason for the dream's falsehood. Willie Loman, Troy Maxson, Bigger Thomas, students in East St. Louis, Barbara Ehrenreich, and millennials have all proven it, whether it be from the stifling of improved financial status from racism or the inequality of the upper and lower classes. In order for the American dream to live, all obstacles need to be diminished. That means race relations and the wage gap need to be improved. As dark and depressing as this may all sound, it shows that we have a lot to do before everyone can be happy and prosper in America.